Hey everybody, Foo Fighter 288 here, or Whiskey Boy 288 if you follow me on Twitch. Eric Seidel, since my name's in the title, and hello to another episode of Nobody's Listening with Eric Seidel, with your host, Eric Seidel. Written and produced by Eric Seidel, directed by Eric Seidel, edited by YouTube, because I don't edit this shit, I send it straight to the algorithm. How's everybody doing tonight? Before we get right into it, oh, look at me, sounding like a YouTuber. Let me go ahead and tell you today's sponsor. It's CAD. Yeah, CAD. I don't know what brand of cigars they are, but they don't smell too bad. I'm smoking. It was only $6, so it's a cheap one. I only smoke cheap ones, but I'm not like George Burns. You know, I mean, that guy, he lived until 90, and he smoked like 15 of these suckers a day, and he lived until he was 90-something. So, especially from a generation where people were typically dying in their 60s. So that's pretty good. But, no, the reason why I'm smoking it isn't because of, I'm sure as fuck not going to be here for a full-on 3 hours. I'm not Joe Rogan. But the reason I am smoking it is because I'm trying to make my bedroom smell a little bit better. Why, you may ask? Well, I know it's been a couple weeks since I've done an episode of this, and it's a hell of a way to open the episode, but I think my new kitten, Emma, may have pissed somewhere in my room. Because every time I open the door to go into my bedroom, it smells like Miss Nancy's house. That's a long story. I'm not going to go into it. That's a topic for another episode. Remind me to do it in the comments. No, but every time I open the door, cat urine smell. Not cool. Don't like it. Don't know where she peed. But I'm hoping maybe the smell of tobacco smoke may soak into something and completely just knock that scent right out of the air. Also, on another note, I'm pretty sure, and I'm not a Catholic priest, so I don't know I don't fiddle around that often with the subject, but I'm pretty sure my cat might be a dude. Because I was petting her belly, and I felt stuff by accident. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I don't think this is a girl kitten. I think this might be a guy kitten. But me and my dad already call her Emma, so I think we may have just joined the modern liberal age, and we're just going to go with it, and she might just be non-binary from now on. But either way, the kitten's still cute. Even though that when my dad gets drunk, I got to argue with him that we're going to keep her, even though he loves the kitten more than I do. But yeah, in case anybody's wondering, Emma's doing great. Although she was a real nuisance last night while I was trying to do my Resident Evil 4 remake Twitch playthrough last night. Yeah, that was an impromptu thing. I was not expecting to do that last night on Twitch, but I did, and I did Chapter 1, and that might be entertaining. She walked over, turned my PS4 on, and I thought, hey, fuck it, why not? And I started playing it, and I tell you what, Twitch works better on PS4 than it does on Xbox. I mean, I'm not a Sony whore, but it is what it is. I mean, Microsoft, get on that. What the fuck? Why is Twitch so hard to work on Xbox One? But yeah, right before I was about to do the big village fight in the beginning of halfway through Chapter 1, she starts climbing on my leather jacket on my door. She jumps from my nightstand. I got video of it. I'll post it at some point. But the little shit tried to disrupt the whole stream. Right before the big, scary, stressful, early part of the game fight scene, I'm like, God damn it, not now, Emma, I said. So, not a great co-host. Not a great co-host. But she is a cute kitten, so we are going to keep her. But, yeah, apart from that, let's get right down into it. Here's what the last 2 weeks have been. This is why I haven't been doing the what are they called? Podcasts, right. Here's why I haven't been doing the podcast the last couple weeks. My fucking brakes on my car. Remember I talked about that a couple episodes ago? Well, I got around to the driver's side back tire. Changed the shoes. It was starting to grind, so I changed the shoes, preemptively changed the wheel cylinder, put the line back in. The shit starts leaking fluid everywhere. I'm talking this thing squirting fluid like Rebecca back in college used to. Well, Rebecca, wherever you are, God bless you. I hope you met a nicer guy. Anyway, it started squirting brake fluid all over the goddamn place. So what do? Well, obviously I go on YouTube, try to look up some DIY tutorials, except it seems like nobody's ever heard of a Hyundai fucking Accent from 2015. So, a little bit more Googling, which wasn't useful. I go to Reddit. I'm like, hey guys, why is my brake fluid leaking from my wheel cylinder? What's going on? And they're like, oh, well, you probably got a cross-threaded, what's the fuck it's called, whatever. And apparently I did. The threading was all shit. So, of course, what I decided to do was get a new brake line. Got a new brake line. Couldn't get the bitch in. I've had some Saturday nights like that, but they don't call me Whiskey Boy for nothing. Hell! Anyway, seriously though, I tried to put it into the brake hose. It wouldn't go in there. So what does my dumbass do? I go to another AutoZone, get another brake line. Except this time, before I change the brake hose, right? Guess what I do? I take the brake hose out of the little clip bracket, whatever the fuck. I look in it. I look straight into it. Nothing's wrong with it. So I start putting the new hose in there. This comes with flare nuts that have extra threading on it, by the way. I put it in there. The son of a bitch goes right in. It screws right in perfectly. So there we go. Everything's great. I put the new brake line in. After like 2 weeks of not driving for Uber or making any money, I finally put the fucking new brake line in. And guess what? I put my foot on the brake. It squirts a little bit of fluid out. Not a whole lot like the last one. Not a whole lot like the last one, but just a little bit. So I'm starting to think, maybe, just maybe, I can get away with just losing a little bit of fluid every time I press the brakes. Not a whole lot, not a spoonful like I was with the last line, but just a little drip here and there. You know what I mean? I mean, what the fuck? I mean, the car still stops. The brake still feels good. It's not spongy or nothing. It doesn't go right to the floor. It's the hydraulics are feeling pretty good. So I'm like, these bottles of DOT3 brake fluid are pretty cheap. I'll just buy a case of them every month or whatever. Well, it's probably not that bad. It ain't leaking that bad, but still, it's annoying that there's a little leak. So what I'm thinking is I might go, son of a bitch, I just forgot to tap this into the ashtray. God damn it. So I just had like about a quarter size thing of ash fall on my bed top. Luckily it wasn't lit. Son of a bitch. Now I got a big ash. Now I look like I've been in Dante's Peak. I got fucking ash on the... That's alright. I'll clean that up later. Anywho, thing is, what I'm thinking is maybe it might be a good idea if I open up the drum brake again, which, by the way, changing the shoes this time wasn't a five-day odyssey like it was on the passenger side. The springs came off easy. This came off easy. Everything came off easy. I mean, I'm talking it came off easy than a college girl. Well, you know what I mean. Anyway, so what happened was, I'm thinking everything went really good. Replaced the wheel cylinder like a snap within a couple hours. I felt like an expert mechanic. But that fucking wheel cylinder, I think, might be faulty. I'm thinking the wheel cylinder might be. Yeah, that's what I said too. And I said that too. I was like, oh my lord, why is it leaking so much? I just paid $40 for this thing. Why is it? What the hell? So what I did was I should have just left the goddamn wheel cylinder alone, but now I think I'm going to have to head back to AutoZone, bring the receipt, of course. I always save the receipts. My Jew ass always keeps the receipts. I'm going to go back to AutoZone, take the wheel cylinder back to the guy, and get a new one from the other place that I got the other one from the other brake job, where the people seem like they know what the fuck they're doing, and get a wheel cylinder from that AutoZone or Advanced Auto Parts. I forget which it is. See, here's the thing about AutoZone and Advanced Auto Parts, is that it's basically like TGIF Fridays and Applebee's. It's the same goddamn thing. It's pretty much all owned by the same company, same menu, same everything, but very similar and just different names. Oh, hell yeah, I always save them receipts. God, I mean, I tell you what, especially since I'm a gig worker, when it comes around to tax season, that's when, that keeps me from getting completely fucked by Uncle Sam and the state of Maryland. Well, the thing about the state of Maryland is when it comes to taxes in this state, well, you always get fucked no matter what. You got to be rich in order not to get fucked in this state. I got to stop saying fucked in a sexual way. This is, yeah, That's not good. I was trying to keep it PG-13 rated, sort of, but hey, Memphis, Tennessee. Hey, dude, that is what, you know what? Here's what I've been saying for ages. All right, here, let me tell you guys something about Memphis, Tennessee. I know all of you have heard of Cleveland, Ohio. And believe me, I could do a whole episode on completely shitting on Cleveland, Ohio. But, the only thing that keeps Cleveland, Ohio on the map is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And honestly, what they really need to do is they really need to have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Memphis, Tennessee. Johnny Cash, Elvis, Muddy Waters, you name it, they started in Memphis, Tennessee. And you mean to tell me they got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in fucking Cleveland? I mean, look, Cleveland does not rock the way it used to. I'm sorry, Drew Carey, but it don't. Cleveland is just ass. Well, yeah, if that's the case, they ought to start wait, is there a hip-hop Hall of Fame? I don't know if there's a hip-hop Hall of Fame, but if there is, they ought to put it in Memphis. What the hell? Hip-hop, in a way, also rocks, especially the stuff in the 80s. Goddamn. But, that's the thing. That's the thing. Good music should have a Hall of Fame, and people have the right to have their name in that Hall of Fame. Also, on an unrelated note, how fucking awesome is it that Paul McCartney inducted the Foo Fighters into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I mean, of all people to do that, Paul McCartney. That's legendary shit right there. I mean, you can't pick anybody, there's nobody else that would be better to bring the Foo Fighters into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame than Paul McCartney. Seriously. But yeah, here's the thing. I might replace the wheel cylinder and get a decent wheel cylinder, because I think that might be the Achilles heel of the overall thing that I'm trying to do by trying to save a couple $100 of not going to a mechanic. Yeah, good point, Ant. Yeah, you're right. A hip-hop Hall of Fame should be in California. The only thing with that, though, is that, and it basically grew up in California. True hip-hop, honestly, started in I know I'm not opening a can of worms by saying that, but, but they ought to have it in California. But, man, I tell you what, there'd be a lot of pissed off East Coast guys in New York who'd be like, why don't we have it in New York? What about East Coast hip-hop? And it's like, well, take a fucking 3-hour flight to California and visit that Hall of Fame. Like, Jesus. It's like, they don't need to have two. What? On a second thought, they probably could have two Rock and Roll Hall of Fames. What they could do is they could put one in Cleveland. Oh, no, fuck Cleveland. They ought to just take it out of Cleveland altogether and put it in Memphis, for fuck's sake. Like, why is it in Cleveland? It's the same thing. All right, I'm about to rant here, but look, it's the same thing as, like, the Star Wars Museum. They were going to have a Star Wars museum in, damn right, it is. The only proper drill is Chicago drill, and then I'm about to get back into that. See, here's what happened. They were going to have the Star Wars Museum. They were going to have it in Chicago. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Museum Campus. I forget the name of the fucking geographical peninsula that it's on, but there's a giant park at the tip of the peninsula. And I'm now, all right, no, I got to be serious here. All right, I was going to do an immature dick joke there, but I'm just pushing forward. What they were going to do was they were going to put the Star Wars Museum on that peninsula. And what happened was, and that would have been cool. Chicago would have had yet another museum, but it would have been a great piece of land to have it on there. What happens? Fucking San Diego. That's what happens. They show up, and they're like, oh, well, hey, we'll take it. Over here, we'll take it. So now there's going to be a Star Wars museum in San Diego instead of in Chicago. Which, either way, either one of those two cities has a shitload of museums and touristy things to visit. Hell, on my bucket list, one of the things I would love to do is go to the San Diego Zoo. I don't know if any of you guys remember Jack Hanna, but when I was a kid and his TV show would come on Saturday afternoons, I'd be like, holy shit, they got rhinos and hippos and they got fucking giraffes. I mean, the San Diego Zoo is like, they got like I don't know, 500-acre piece of land that's like basically Africa in the middle of California with like lions and shit just roaming around, chilling like it's the safari. I'm like, dude, I would love to get into one of those Jeeps and just go to San Diego. Of course, then again, I could just go to Africa. But the thing is, if I went to Africa, I'd have to get like 27 or 80 shots of different malaria fighting, germ killing. Anyway, but yeah, San Diego Zoo, if it's even still as good as it was in the 90s, I would love to go to see that. Jesus. Don't worry about it, Aunt. You weren't missing out on a whole lot. Here's the thing. Here's the best advice I can give to younger people these days. Don't ever feel like you missed out on something, because back when I was in the early 2000s, I used to think, man, I wish I was born in the 70s so I could go to the Led Zeppelin concerts and see them live and all that kind of stuff. But the thing that's great about, and the thing that's great about being alive now, and then I'm trying not to use the term that my mom used to say, is you were born for just a time as this. I don't want to get that philosophical. But the thing that's great about being alive now is that in the 70s, they didn't have Bluetooth and earbuds and every piece of music you could possibly get your hand on digitally. So that is the best thing about being alive these days. So, I mean, even though I wish I was born like a little earlier in the 80s instead of in 89, you know, I'm okay now. I can make do with what you know, I'm thrown into. But yeah, everybody, thanks for listening. And Aunt, thanks for engaging. I appreciate it, man. Everyone have a good night. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Or I guess I'll hear you in the next one, or you'll hear me in the next. Yeah, have a good night, everybody. Stay chill.